Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at Milwaukee's new M12 compact floodlight. They're calling it the Rover. They've come out with so many lighting products, they're having to give them special names to avoid confusion. So this thing is an amazing little floodlight, puts out 1,000 lumens on high, takes any M12 battery, including compact ones and extra capacity ones. And there's a ton of mounting options this thing has. It's got a bunch of different angles you can set it at, a bunch of different ways to hang it or stick it on a surface. So let's take a closer look. Alright, so here it is up close, and the first thing I notice about this light is Milwaukee finally moved to a on-off button that is separate from the mode button. I really like this direction they're going with it because it is kind of annoying to cycle through all the modes. So if you turn it on, I think this is on high right now, and you hit the mode button, it goes to medium, low, and then back to high. So if I set this on medium and turn it off, turn it back on, it's on medium, because here we go low and then high again. So it remembers the last spot it was on and comes back on that setting, which is really great. So you've got the 5 LED head right here. These are lifetime guarantee for these LEDs. You're going to have to worry about them burning out. And it's actually a pretty even light beam coming out of it. So even though there's 5 different elements, if you're up close to something, you'll get some weird shadows. But other than that, it's a pretty even beam. And it's actually a little bit square, like you'd imagine, from the head is actually square for the beam pattern. The front here is rubberized, and the protective glass is actually, or probably Lexane or something like that, is actually set back down. So if you drop it like this, it's actually not going to scratch that glass up unless you have a really jagged surface that's sticking up more than about 3/16 of an inch. Once again, you have your battery gauge right here. When you turn it on, it lights up, and then it goes off after a few seconds. The carry handle is a really great design. When you pick it up, it carries with the light hanging down at about a 45-degree angle. So it lights up your path in front of you and then a little bit up higher so you can actually see what's coming up as well. And this carry handle has a groove in it for hanging this from a wire or twine or a rope or something. It'll hang at the same angle, so you can hang it up overhead and it'll light up down below it. If you flip it over here, you can see there's 2 really strong magnets here with a plastic coating, so they aren't going to scratch anything up. This whole bottom is either rubberized or plastic. So it's if you set it on something and it sticks because it's metal, it's not going to scratch up the metal surface it's sitting on. You also have a clamp here that's spring-loaded. It's actually a really strong spring, and it goes out to 1.5 inches, so it'll fit on any dimensional lumber. And you let it go, and you can see it's got a damper on there. And if we look at, this side down here, you can see the rack side, and there's probably a pinion in there that's spring-loaded, and it's got a damper so it doesn't slam closed. This thing will catch your fingers though if you don't get your hand out of there in time, and it's a really strong spring so it can bite you a little bit, so be careful about that. You've also got a keyhole slot right here that's actually, I've found you can hang it pretty much any orientation, 360 degrees around that keyhole slot, and it stays and works pretty well because of the rubberized bottom. And then of course you've got your spot for your M12 battery. This is a 2 amp hour. Anything from their old 1.5 amp hour compact batteries all the way up through their 6 amp hour extra capacity battery should fit. This is a 4 amp hour extra capacity. You can see it works pretty well. It's not quite flush with the bottom, so it's sticking up a little bit. The battery is a little bit protected that way. Doesn't affect the balance like this. It does kind of affect the balance like this. You can see it's a little bit more unstable. Actually, the 4 amp hour battery packs like to stick a little bit in there. It might just be my battery pack though. But it's a little bit more stable when you've got a lighter battery if you're putting it on this surface. And what that does is it allows it, if you got somewhere an overhead ledge, you can set it right there and it'll shine down for you. And as is, this sits at probably about a 60-degree angle and shines upwards a little bit if you've got it, just set on the floor somewhere. It's actually a pretty good angle for that. You can set it on its back so it's pointing straight up if you want. I think Milwaukee really hit it out of the park with the design on this thing though, because just about any use case you can think of, it'll stick there. So these magnets are really strong, like I said. They stick just fine to a toolbox, and my toolbox is 19 gauge steel, so that's like 0.045 inches, a little bit thinner than that. And it says 1/8 inch steel. I don't know what they were smoking when they said 1/8 inch is the minimum, because it'll stick on stuff that's way thinner than that. And it's really strong too. The nice thing is it's really strong, but the way they designed this handle, it's got a lot of leverage against this little lever arm you've got to the edge right here. So you just pick it up and it peels right off, but when you put it on there, it's really on there. What else? Oh, this thing puts out 1,000 lumens on high, and it'll last about 3.5 hours with a 4 amp hour battery. I used a 2 amp hour and measured it at 103 minutes until it ran out, and that's right in line. I should have gotten 105. So, I mean, I could have maybe not had this charged all the way, or, you know, something. I'll give them 2 minutes. So on medium, it is 400 lumens for 7.5 hours with a 4 amp hour battery. And then on low, it is 200 lumens with a 15-hour runtime on a 4 amp hour battery. So you've got a great versatility for trading off between long run times and brightness. And, you know, if you've got a couple M12 batteries, this thing will go forever for you. All right, so as far as versatility goes, I've got this 2x4 here, and I'll show you quite a few different ways you can mount this. So if you're up in an attic or something, you got your rafters, you just pull that hook out and stick it to it. And this can rotate any direction the way they designed that little the spring-loaded clamp, pretty much any way you want to mount it. And the clamp is rubberized, it's got a really great grip on it. And then to take it off, you just pull it off and let go. It's also got the keyhole slot. I've got a screw right here, so set it on there. And then, like I said, it stays at pretty much, well, there we go. This is me just being a klutz. Pretty much any orientation you want when you're hanging it off of a screw. Then in addition to that, we've got magnets on the bottom, really, really strong magnets. You can see, oh, there it goes. It's also impact rated for a 3-meter drop. So you can see it's hanging onto this even though I'm flinging it everywhere. These are really strong magnets. It's hanging onto the edge of this square. So I mean, as long as you're not swinging it around on like a baseball bat, it'll be fine. It wouldn't stick to that anyway because aluminum bats aren't ferrous. But any ferrous surface, you can see this is thinner. Man, this is thinner than an 1/8 inch steel. It sticks to my toolbox, which is 19 gauge, which is even thinner than this. It really takes quite a bit of force to get it off when it's on there. You can see it snap down there. So awesome, awesome design. Alright, so I've got all the lights off in my garage. It's night outside. This is the only source of illumination for the video. You can see it does a pretty good job of lighting things up. It's blinding me a little bit because I'm kind of looking into it. So this is 1,000 lumens, so it's half as bright as the M18 stand light and 1/3 as bright as the M18 rocket light, just to give you a reference. And then we can go ahead and bump it down to, this is medium, and then that's 400 lumens, and then low, that's 200 lumens. So back up to high, it does a great job of lighting everything up. Definitely for a task though. It's not a whole room light, it's definitely for, you know, focused on one area. But if you're just working in one area, this thing's perfect. Alright, so I'm going to take this thing up to the attic, and you'll see how well it does, you know, actual task lighting where you, in a situation you'd be using this thing in. Alright, so I'm up in my attic, and I've got the M12 Rover on one of the rafters. And as you can see, it's lighting up a good half of the attic. So this is a great option if you're doing some work. I think 2 of these would light up a good, good size 3 beds, 2 bath house in the attic space. And I'll give you a picture of how dark it actually is without the light on. It is the middle of the day, but there's no real light coming up through the soffit. There's just a tiny bit, and some through the roof vents. But one of these lights lights up half an attic, and then you know, it's going to last quite a while, especially with a 4 amp hour battery, get you through most tasks you're going to be doing up here.
Excellent lighting solution.
Alright, one thing I forgot to mention, this thing is IP54 rated, which means it's dust and water resistant. You can leave it out in the rain and you shouldn't have any problems. So you can get this dirty, get it dusty, get it wet, it should be fine. Alright, so price point for this is $80 bare tool. I think it's offering a great amount of performance for that value. I don't think you can go wrong with it. So it's compact, it's light, it's easy to grab, it's 2.2 pounds bare tool. It's pretty bright for its size. I think it's a winner. I think it's my new go-to light for when I'm doing a project and I just need to grab something and go. Alright, so summing everything up, this is an amazing little light. And I try to be really objective here. If you've watched any of my other reviews on my channel, I give pros and cons for everything. I really can't think of any significant con for this light. I think Milwaukee hit it out of the park with this. If you own the M12 system, put this on your Christmas list. If you're looking for an M12 light, undoubtedly just go out and buy this one. Why are you still listening to me talk? Seriously, go buy it. So hopefully this review is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. And once again, don't forget to subscribe.